Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? I'm going to wait and start letting you guys get the notifications, okay? So what I'm going to do is I have a guest coming in tonight. Hold on. Make sure you guys hit the like button as you come into the room, okay? Hold on. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. Hold on, y'all, because somebody just put something in my inbox threatening me. They just put something in my inbox threatening me, okay? I'm sure some vlogger has some sick. Hold on one second. Okay. Anyways, you guys, I had to get screenshots and stuff of that. Anyways, you guys, hit the like button for me, okay? Hit the like button. We won't deal with. We'll deal with that after my guests leave, okay? Anyways, you guys, make sure you guys hit the like button for me, okay? I'm waiting for my guests to come in tonight. Give me that. Tonight, you guys, we are going to hold on. Let me take that from them. I'm sick of them with that. Okay, so tonight I'm supposed to have a guest on. He's going to click in like 5 minutes. His name is Captain Bennie Cobb. Okay, he worked for. He has. We'll go over everything once he gets in. Worked with the sheriff's office for 30 years. Okay, ran for sheriff a couple times, and have so many accolades. I told him it's not like now every time I cut on the TV, I'm seeing him. He's an expert on when on crime and things of that nature. That news, I believe it's News Channel 5. He's the go-to person, right? I can't wait to get off and deal with this though. Miss Shetter, you gonna tell us who had you to reach out to me and threaten me today, y'all. But we ain't gonna ruin the mood though. She gonna tell me or the FBI. Okay. Anyways, you guys, he's going to click in a few minutes, and he's wanting to talk about some things. He reached out to me and asked me if he could come on to talk about some things that he has going on as it relates to gun laws, gun safety, and things of that nature. And I was like, of course you can. We're going to let him click the link. Okay. Hold on, you all. I'm seeing if he can click that link. Okay. Let's see who all we have in the room. Okay. We have Diane, Little Miss Muffin, Joy Loves God, Inquisitive TV, Leo, Diane Wright, Kimberly. How is everyone doing today? We want to I'm trying to make sure, because oftentimes when people click that link, they don't get through. Okay. Be quiet, Remy. Stop before I have to put you on the back. I said stop. I think I got back home just in time. It's pouring down raining. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to make sure my guests can click that link. Okay, we'll see in 1 minute. I think he's trying to click it. We'll see when he comes into the backstage. But make sure you guys hit the like button for me. This man that we're getting ready to have on as a guest, I respect him so much. He's always been very supportive of my show and what I do as it relates to my show. He has always been. We've always been very supportive of him. A very good guy. Have many accolades. Many accolades as it relates to law enforcement. Has been doing this for over 30 years. And now he's teaching gun safety. He's just been made president of and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. Okay. We know that, well, for those of you all that is in Tennessee, I mean, it seems like anybody can get a gun now, right? Hold on for a minute, you guys. gonna let Captain Cobb in the house. When I see him in that backstage, because I know sometimes when people trying to click that link, they have issues. Because he may have to call in. I'm hoping that he could click the link. But if he can't click the link, thank God he'll be able to just call in, right? I think I'm gonna have to put them up. Okay, hold on, y'all. We're still waiting for him. Like I said, I hope he's not. Let me ask him if he's having issues with clicking the link. I want to make sure that it's not giving him any problems. Okay. Hold on, you guys. You guys, make sure y'all hit the like button for me. Make sure you all hit the like button for me. I know that's right. Ranger and puppies need to be good. Okay, with company coming in. If not, I'm gonna put their butts in their house. Hey, DCat Daddy, because they okay. How are you, sir?
Hey, Tamara, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
I am doing great, doing great.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
just kind of, I was telling them about we was going to have a guest today. Of course, what this episode also that I'm doing on my vlog, I'm also going to put it on my TV show also. Okay, Benny?
Okay, that's
I
great. Thank
want
you.
to I want to introduce you. Of course, I've been knowing we always still call you Captain Bennie Cobb for a very long time. Of course, there are many accolades as it relates to you. I was just looking at all of your stuff. Not only uh, did you work with the sheriff's office for 29 years and 8 months, you also now own your own security and training company. You also went through
Hmm.
the FBI Academy. FBI, you are FBI
Right.
leader member, NRA, board of the Shelby County Federal Credit Union, and a foster care on the foster care board of Shelby County Juvenile Court.
Hmm.
Can you hear me, Benny?
Absolutely.
Many,
I
many
can.
accolades. And now you are on the board of, you've just been elected as, hold on, let me look at that again. The board of the African American Gun Association. Now tell us about that, Bennie.
Okay, so Tamara, thank you for having me on your show. How your family doing before we go any further?
We're doing good. We're doing good.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So look, I haven't had a wonderful law enforcement career, and in addition to being in law enforcement, I'm also a certified law enforcement trainer. So I've been a
Mm-hmm.
certified gun trainer since 1988. I was the commander of the SWAT team, and I got a bunch of certifications. When I
Mm-hmm.
retired, I said, "Hey, let me put these certifications to work for me." So I opened up a business, and the business is a security company. But the biggest thing I do, of course, I do gun training. I
Mm-hmm.
do
Because I took one of your classes.
right, right, and I do
Mm-hmm.
every training that public safety involves. Active shooter, pepper spray, baton, stun gun, rifle, shotgun. Every training that uh, that involves public safety, self defense. So years ago, I had this friend. He passed on. God bless his soul. Named Claude Tafford. He was a fireman. And we
Mm-hmm.
were talking one day, and he asked me if I knew about this gun club called National African American Gun Association. Never heard of it. So we got to talking about it, and he passed on. And I picked up the torch. I said, "This is really interesting." Of course, I've been a member of the NRA. Everybody knows the National Rifle Association.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up the torch and got to investigating this gun club. It was so interesting. I found out that the National African American Gun Association is the second largest gun club in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
It's second only to the National Rifle Association, NRA. So we have over 100 chapters, almost 50,000 members. There's 7 chapters in Tennessee, and there are 2 in Memphis. My chapter is the newest one, and the chapter that I'm the president of is called 901 Brothers, Sisters, Keepers. Cameron, we have over 200 members. I mean, we kick this thing off, and everybody, politicians, clergy, everyday people wanted to be a part of it. Now, it says National African American Gun Association. We're all inclusive. We have Caucasian, we have Latino, we have LGBTQ, we have everybody wants to be a part of it. And what we are is we are a professional organization that believes in professional gun safety and gun ownership, responsible gun ownership. We're inviting people to become members. It's open to everybody. And we have 6 principles that if you can look at the flag behind me, I don't know how well you can see it, but we
I
have
can
six
see it
principles
well.
that we are going to abide by. Self defense, of course, I am a hands on self defense instructor. I have 4 retired law enforcement officers and some politicians that's in my in this association. One of our biggest supporters is Erica Sugarman, who's a county commissioner. She was one of the first members, and she's spearheading getting the message out to some of her colleagues. Barbara Farmer, who retired from the sheriff's office, she's a domestic violence and sexual assault expert. So we're going out and we're talking to people, we're recruiting people, we're training people in self defense. We believe that we have a right and a duty to protect ourselves and our family. The former director of the FBI said in this press conference that it is not the duty of the police to protect your family. It's your duty and your responsibility. It's not the duty of the police department. That came from the former director of the FBI. And we are including gun safety. Of course, there's excuse me. As you know, there's a in Tennessee and across the United States, there's roughly 32 states that have permit to carry, where you can just pick up a gun and carry it without any training, any background check, anything. So there's roughly 32 states, and Tennessee is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Second Amendment advocate. I believe in the Second Amendment, but I also believe in training and being properly trained. And we have people that's out with guns that should not have them, but they've always had people who should not have had them have always had them. So we are advocating, if you have a gun and you want some safety training, we can do that with gun safety for kids.
Mm-hmm.
St. Jude had almost 150 kids come in last year that had been injured by guns. So we have put on in 2023, we put on 6 gun safety for kids seminars where we bring the kids in and we have a guest speaker come in and talk with them about gun safety. We talk to the parents. And then gun still safe storage is one of the laws that was passed in Tennessee this year, where they're calling for and giving out gun locks all over the state of Tennessee. We've been proactive. We've been doing this all along without laws. Most of this stuff has been self-sponsored. I finance these things out of my pocket. Now we're going into an association where we're going to be able to do these things under the umbrella of the association.
Mm-hmm.
Community engagement. We're going to bring the community out and engage them and try to have some positive things going on. Tactical training, of course. When I say that, I mentioned I was the commander of the SWAT team. So we're not training folks to be SWAT members, but we want to train your mind to be tactically sound.
Well, you know I'm going to be in that class.
Yeah. Well, I know we might hold you down. So,
yeah, I was in your gun. Now. How often do you do your gun training classes? I know my sister and we came to your class and we got our gun license and all of that through you.
Mm-hmm. So I do my as a business, I do my gun handgun class. It's called enhanced handgun permit. Now I do that about twice a month. Of course, in between that, I'm doing the other training, what's called less than lethal, pepper spray, baton, taser. A lot of people don't want to carry a gun. They just want to be know self-defense and how to defend themselves. So for those that don't want to carry a gun, we have other options that we can train you in. Right now, I have, I'm honored to say I'm doing a lot of private training. I have 8 females that's doing one-on-one training. I got one lady that drives from Bahia twice a week to do her self-defense and gun training. So I'm doing a lot of private training, but my classes for the handgun permit is done about a couple times a month in between doing all the other training police officers, training security guards, active shooters training. We've been doing a lot of active shooter training with the schools and the churches and different things like that.
Okay. Now, I do believe that the gun laws, the governor changed the gun laws not too long ago. What do you think about that? Because it seems like guns are now accessible to any and everybody without there being any responsibilities. What I mean, that's what many people would think. What do you think about that?
Well, so people always have guns. They have always had them. They're gonna always have them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's happening is this: the bad guys don't follow rules and regulations. They're gonna have guns regardless. I was at the barbershop, and everybody in the barbershop was strapped. And the barbers, he addressed me, Captain Cobb, and the guy was like, they was looking at me. The young guys were like, Captain, we want to let you know we strapped. And I'm strapped too. And the young guy was on. He said, I don't mean no harm and no disrespect, but I'd rather get caught by the police with my gun than to get caught by somebody without it. And that was a profound statement to me. Now, last May was the first time that 18-year-olds were allowed to get a handgun permit. I'm honored to say I had the first 18-year-old in the state of Tennessee that come for his handgun permit. Now, he could come to the training, but he could not apply for the permit until June the 27th. He was the first 18-year-old in the state of Tennessee. I applaud him and his family. His family are gun carriers. Even though he didn't have to have a permit, they chose to. So the people that want the proper training, the people that want to understand the laws are coming for the training, even though they don't have to. What this permit training does is give you the ability to carry a gun in different states, whereas without the permit training, you're limited to where you can carry your gun. The other thing is, Tamara, say that you have a handgun permit and your best friend doesn't. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you can walk in the park with your handgun permit, but a permitless carry person can't go to a park without a permit with a gun. So there's a lot of things that's involved in that law that people don't understand. All they know is that they can carry a gun, but they've been carrying guns anyway. The bad guys have been carrying guns anyway. Mississippi has had this since 2013. Of course, Mississippi don't have some of the same issues as Memphis does, but they've been had it since 2013. The Mississippi laws are like this: if you go through training, your gun has to be concealed. If you don't have any training at all, your gun can be open, hanging out your pocket, or whatever. So the gun law is very liberal, and there's a lot of opportunities for people to carry guns. Like you said, it should not be doing so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let me ask you this, because you mentioned that you walked into the barber shop and there were a lot of guys, in there, and they mentioned to you, especially with you being in law enforcement, that they would rather be caught with their guns by the police than without them. How did that make you feel as
Well,
someone that came out of law enforcement?
Well, it's changed. It's changed. Back when I rode in the squad car, somebody called and said it's a man with a gun. We sent 3 squad cars. Now somebody called and said there's a man out there with a gun. The first thing the dispatcher is gonna say, well, what is he doing? Is he threatening anybody? Is he menacing? And so the police had to be retrained to adjust to people walking around with guns.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, I also wanted to ask you, you said that you had the first 18-year-old
Mhm.
in your class. How important is it for young adults to get trained? I'm talking about even like, because sometimes you see, especially in the country, you see like 11, 12-year-olds out in the woods. Their
Mhm.
parents are,
Mhm.
training them.
Yep.
How early do you feel that a child should be trained?
Well, I have 6 grandkids. 5, I'm sorry. Oh, I just hope it's 5. But anyway, all 5 of my grandkids have guns. They have 22 rifles, and I take them to the gun range. My 14-year-old's been shooting since she was 9. She has
Mhm.
her own gun, but it's about gun safety. It's not about self-defense, and she enjoys going to the gun range. She knows how to take the gun loose and break it down. And the biggest thing is my grandkids are safe in my home and their home, but I want them to know the gun safety when they go visit other people and they're playing with guns and not being safe. They call me and granddaddy come to get them. So I think it's very important that we take the opportunity to educate our kids about gun safety, because everybody has a gun. They're friends. There's been 6 children, kids, young people from Central High School shot this year, and none of them was committing a crime.
Oh wow. Oh wow. What do you say to those ladies that, who go, but I'm just scared of the pop of a gun? I just I'm scared to learn how to shoot a gun. What do you say to those ladies?
Come see me. Come see me. I can help you overcome your fear, the understanding that the gun would not hurt you if you're on this side of it. I can absolutely help you build up your confidence. I've been doing it since 1988, and guns are not for everybody. Everybody's not going to have that, but have that confidence and overcome that fear. But if you want to give it a try, come see me, and I can absolutely help
Now tell me a little bit more about this tactical training that I gotta come to. Tell me about that, because I
you.
think that all women should be in that.
Well, yeah, but y'all are girly girls. Don't want to break a nail. Don't want to break a nail. And I know the type heels you be wearing, but you can actually use those heels to a tactical advantage. So there's a lot that go into it, but it's something that everybody can do. We don't put you out there and make you do this, all the drills and things, but it's some common sense type things that we can train you to do.
Yeah, one thing I was known for and still is them tall heels. I
Those
tell you.
heels.
And Captain Cobb, you remember?
Yeah, yeah. I said Tamara walking around with her weapon on her feet.
So tell me again, what is it that did you say what you teach in there? Like,
well, so we teach very simple things that you carry every day. Keys, your fingernails, use your fingernails, kick them in the yang yang. But the biggest thing is to build up the confidence to say your biggest weapon is being aware of your surroundings. I'm a weapons expert, I'm a gun expert, but my biggest tool is being aware of what's going on around me to try to circumvent or take appropriate action if something happens. So it's not only the physical, but it's psychological also.
You know what I tell people all the time when they're getting out of their cars and they're looking down. I tell my daughters they're looking down at the phones or they're walking into that's just not good because I'm very aware of my surroundings.
Right. That's your number one tool.
I'm very aware of my surroundings. I went through the Memphis Police Academy, and that's one of and you was with the sheriff. You were a supervisor forever, so that's one of the things that you have to. I tell people all the time, Captain Cobb, especially as I feel like police officers and the public have to rebuild their trust. People have to rebuild their trust, with the police. It has to be. I think the public and the police, I guess, would need to be on one accord.
Right.
But hey, I tell people all the time, listen. Always be aware of your surroundings. You have to understand how police officers are trained. They don't get out to try and little boy you or anything. I remember being trained in the academy. You don't talk to, I'm still to this day. You don't talk to people paranoid about people talking to me with their hands in their pocket. I back in everywhere. That's something that they teach you at the academy.
Right.
To always be aware.
Absolutely.
So, Captain Cobb, I got some ladies in the chat. We have a live chat, and I'm sorry about my puppies. They're playing. One young lady just asked. She says, "Where are you located? I'm interested."
Okay, so I have my own training center. Tamara, I'm going to put this on pause for a second. I need to put my bag in before we cut off.
Okay.
So let me put this on pause for just a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all stop. Please don't embarrass me. I'm gonna put y'all back in the thing. The Joy Loves God said, yeah, those stilettos take out anybody's eye. I'm telling you. Captain Cobb has been to my office. When you first walk in, all you're going to see is a whole lot of stiletto heels sitting out.
Okay, Tamara, I'm back. I relocated.
Okay.
Have a good visual. Let me change this here. So anyway, my training center, I'm sorry, I'm moving to another location. Okay, so my training center, so here we are. My training center is in Bartlett, is at 7715 US Highway 70, which is Summer. So I'm right there at Summer and Appling. Okay.
Now, mentoring, and you may have touched on that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you, because I see on here on your flyer, it talks about mentoring and safe storage. First, I guess tell us more about, because we notice like people feel like if they have their safety, their gun locked or whatever, they can leave it out. Tell us more about safety storage. Okay. Safe storage.
So let's go with safe storage first. So it's absolutely pertinent that adults understand kids are smart, and then they're playing these video games. Let me just share with you. It's kind of sad, but it's humorous at the same time. We had the gun safety class going on. And of course, in the gun safety class, gun safety for kids, we allow the kids to go back and shoot. We take them back into the gun range and let them shoot. And with their parents and guardians' permission, who's there. We have a guest speaker to come in and talk with them, and then we'll take them back and let them shoot the little 22. I have, like I said, 4 instructors that works in my office. So we were getting ready to shoot, and I said, "Who want to be first?" And this kid, about 12-year-old, he jumps up. He was like, "No, no, I want to be first. Y'all don't have to tell me what to do. I know what to do. Y'all, no." He was so excited. He was so excited. It was going to be a danger, and his mother was so embarrassed. I made him go last because I'm sure thought he knew what to do from playing these video games.
Mm-hmm.
And so parents, of course, we buy these video games, we let them buy them or whatever. But the biggest thing that's happening is this: we think that, well, our kids won't play with guns or they won't get a gun. Peer pressure is something else. And we get guns and we get them in the house because, number one, we haven't been trained properly. We haven't been trained about to the safety factors. So we get a gun and we go in the house and we put it in a bag and we put it under the mattress, or we put it up on the top shelf. These kids are so smart. When you come sneaking in the house with a Christmas present, just a Xbox, they'll get that Xbox and they'll play with it and put it back in the box, and you never would know they played with it. So if they can find Christmas presents and those type things, they certainly gonna find a gun. So it's our responsibility. Every child that shoots himself with a gun or shoots a sibling, it's an adult's fault. True story, and you may know something about it. It happened in the area where your office is. The lady and her boyfriend went to the store, left the 2 siblings, small kids at home. He left AR-15 laying out. One sibling got the gun and shot and killed the other sibling. Later left the gun laying out, a high-powered, high-capacity rifle. So safe storage, we have to make sure that we are putting these gun locks, gun safes, taking the round out of the chambers, or whatever we need to do when kids are around to make sure that those guns are safe. The state of Tennessee gave me 1,000 gun locks. I give them to people, and I'm a private citizen with a private business. But you can get a gun lock at the police department, the Shelby County. They got them at the library, the fire department. We can't just take for granted that kids are not going to get a gun, because they will, because everybody loves guns. Look, Tamara, 2-year-olds running around the house talking about pow, 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 pow.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to, as an adult, we have to be proactive in making sure that those guns are locked up and put away. And I have a gun room and gun safes at my house, and my grandkids, when they come over, I know that they not gonna mess with the guns because I have them secured. However, I'm concerned about when they go to somebody else's house and they don't have their guns secured and have them laying on the couch or on the shelf. And I go across Shelby County. I get invited by law enforcement. It's a gun expert. And I show these videos where these kids are picking up guns and adults are sitting right next to them. And before you know it, they are picking up the gun, and the next thing you hear is a bang. So it's very, very important that you have this opportunity to have a conversation about safe storage and locking guns up and putting them out of the reach of kids, because too many kids are hurting and killing themselves and their siblings. Now, community engagement, was the next one you were asking me about?
Yes, but I want to elaborate on this, but you kind of touched on before we get into community engagement.
Mhm.
I was going to ask you, how do you feel about them charging the parents when the kids get the guns? How do you feel about that?
Well, it's a two-edged sword. Now you got a parent that's grieving. You got but adults are responsible for their kids' actions, and the law says that there's child abuse, or child neglect, or child endangerment, and so you have to follow the letter of the law. I think that a jury may be sympathetic, but I don't think the district attorney or the police chief or the sheriff have any other choice than to follow the letter of the law. I mean, my heart bleeds for those parents, but again, we need to, as a parent, as an adult, we need to be in a position where we're actually doing everything we can to prevent incidents like that.
Do you feel like the video games are giving these children a false sense of or making, because guns are very important, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that the video games are, I don't know, I guess kind of giving kids a
Mm-hmm.
false sense of how important this really is?
Well, not how important it is. It's giving the kids a sense of how exciting it is.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Theft Auto, and not only with these guns, but this crime, a lot of this drag racing and street takeovers. It's a result of some of these video games, these TV shows. Now, and growing up in our time, we knew that the Wild Wild West and Dragnet and all these things were just TV shows. But now this action seems so real to these young folks, and it's a thrill, it's action, and from what I understand, they can even play against each other in different states. They can get on the video games and play, challenges against each other with, shooting their targets or taking out their ops or whatever. So this is just an expansion a lot of times of these video games.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now we can talk about the community.
Okay, so one of the things that we do is mentoring. Tamara, I've been a basketball coach for over 35 years. And I'm happy to say some of our basketball players are police officers now, firemen. One of them is even a doctor. And I'm so happy to see these young people succeeding. Now,
I was going to say, as tall as you are, I'm surprised you weren't a NBA player.
yeah, right. So what has happened is this: you have a lot of programs out there. Craig Little has an excellent program. Memphis Pass. You have a lot of programs out there. But the social media has taken over, and we're looking for mentors to get back to the root of things. So my basketball teams, we would play basketball, but we would also take them down to visit the judges. We would take them up to the sheriff department and visit the detective division. We would have guest speakers come out. So mentoring is more than winning basketball games. Some of our politicians now, I get on them all the time. I stay on them because they're they're working from behind the desk, and I don't know why they won't get out into the street and meet the people, meet the young people. And when they do have these rallies and these walks or whatever, it's always in the safe neighborhoods. These people out there, these citizens, these communities, they're not out to. I think the biggest thing they want to be is accepted and part of the system, part of the mainstream,
Mm-hmm.
and every day of the week, I try to encounter somebody, but I go back to the old neighborhood. It's changed so much. I was at one of the areas that I coached basketball, and and I was just sitting there. They was looking at me. They didn't know nothing. I was just sitting there watching them play. And of course, me being the older guy, they were just watching. They was halfway playing and watching me. And so one of the young fellas that I coached 25 years ago, he was out there playing basketball. I don't know why he wasn't working, but he was out there playing basketball. He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, Coach Cobb," and came up and we did the bro hug and everything. And everybody kind of relaxed. They were like, "You know him? Yeah, that Coach Cobb. He was my coach." Everybody kind of relaxed. And so, what I really think that we, as older, as mature, as adults, should not be afraid to go back and mentor in these neighborhoods and mentor these people and talk to them. But everybody just want to mind their own. It ain't my business. And I don't want to get involved. It ain't my business. But now you got to catch them at a young age, and so that's where we come in with the gun safety. We come in. We have on a probably monthly basis somebody want me to talk to their child, and we just have to do the best that we can to save as many as we can, but not be afraid to have a one-on-one conversation with them.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you. Okay, uh, how do we mend the relationship with the public and law enforcement? How do we do that?
Good question. So, in my law enforcement career, and I don't know why they got away from this, we did what we call community policing. Pam, Pam Strong
Yeah.
work. Yeah. So Pam was in community policing. Reggie Reed, a bunch of old heads, and everybody in that area knew the officers, and the officer knew everybody in that area. Now, what's happening now is, Tamara, you come to work, you assigned to District 1 today. Tomorrow you're assigned to District 2. Next day you're assigned to District 3.
Right.
And so nobody gets the opportunity to know anybody. I use this one guy named Steve. I won't call his last name. A white guy out of he lived in North Haven. He worked in North Haven. Everybody in North Haven knew this guy. He knew everybody. He knew everybody's child. He knew everybody's grandchild. He knew who lived in that everybody's in those houses. And he worked in that same district for 10, 15 years. He worked in that same district. If they were looking for somebody, if somebody had a problem, they knew who to call. So I think that we have to, because the police officer basically, and I feel bad for them because they're working out of their cars. They're going from one call to the next to the next. But I believe that if you get back to the community policing, where the police have an opportunity to go in and talk to people, have a conversation with them. When I was the field commander in patrol, it was mandatory because a lot of these subdivisions, especially Shelby Drive area and Germantown Road, got to have these lakes and these interior walking parks on this side of the subdivision. So it was mandatory that they park their car and get out and talk to people. And that's the number one thing you got to do is talk to people. But the young police officers have never experienced that, and they don't know how. They don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm. So you say you recommend police, and how do you feel when you hear about, especially the situation that happened in the Whitehaven area, where unfortunately 2 young men lost their life, but a Memphis police officer lost his life, and then they found out that it was the officers. Now you being first of all, you being a captain for so many years, and being a tactical trainer and all of that, because that's just like snipers, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did that go wrong?
Now, which incident you talking about? The last police officer get killed?
Yeah, the last police officer, the male white that lost his life. Of course, the two suspects lost their life, unfortunately, but they found out later that it was friendly fire.
Right. And so I had a lot of news stations ask me about that. That was a tragedy, but it is not the first time that it's happened. What you have now, the things that's happening, there was a high capacity, high velocity handgun with a Glock switch that was a part of that situation. And you have to deal with those things, those illegal Glock switches. And I say here on your show that the people that's listening, these Glock switches are another fad that's exciting to these young people because they turn a semi-automatic gun into a fully automatic gun, and they're firing fully automatic rounds. Now, when you're in a violent situation like that, and you police officer, of course, you want to go home to your family, you want to see your kids and your wife again or your husband. And you're running and you're shooting and you're running and ducking and dodging, and it's not like people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
People, you went through the police academy.
Mm-hmm.
People don't have a clue as to how chaotic it is. It's
Absolutely.
so unfortunate that police officer lost his life. And what's going to be equally as bad is whenever they identify the police officer that actually accidentally shot this other officer, it's going to be equally as bad. So yeah, that was a tragedy, and the city would never recover from that because it's always going to be some fallout. Rufus Gates in Whitehaven.
Mm-hmm.
Whitehaven High School. He was a major with the Memphis Police Department. At the Whitehaven High School football game, another police officer, somebody went to the police officer on duty and said, "Hey, there's a man around there with a gun." Rufus Gates was the chief of detectives. The police officer went around there and shot him and killed him. So it's not the first time that it's happened. It's more horrendous, and it's a harder pill to swallow each time.
How did these switches get out of control? Because it's almost like it just became a thing overnight. And how are they going to get it under control?
Well, the thing that's going to have to happen is the punishment for the switches is going to have to be swift, severe, and certain. Now, having said that, hear me when I say this, Tamara, from somebody that keeps up with what's going on. The United States Supreme Court overturned the ban on bump stocks a couple of weeks ago. Bump stock is equivalent to a switch, but a bump stock goes on a rifle. So a bump stock actually has been banned for years, and the United States Supreme Court said 2 weeks ago that we are lifting the ban. Now, citizens, anybody can have a bump stock, which increases the rate of fire on a rifle. My next question was this, and you hear me when I say this: Glock switches have the potential to become legal.
Wow. That's gonna be it's already a tragedy.
It is. It is. But the Second Amendment, the interpretation of the Second Amendment, the legislature, the Supreme Courts, and what we have to do as a people. And I talk to politicians all the time. I have some good friends that's in the Senate and the legislature and the House. And I think what we need to do is start educating people. South Carolina passed a permitless carry 2 months ago, but the governor said you can carry a gun. You can carry a gun without a permit, but you better get some training. And to make sure you get some training, the state is going to pay for the training.
Mm-hmm.
If we catch you with a gun and you don't have a training certificate, then you're breaking the law. So what I've been saying to some of the legislators and some of the senators here, yeah, I agree that they need some training. We're never going to repeal this permitless carry. That's not going to happen. So what I'm asking and what I recommend is that you put some money out to make training opportunities available. Now, the South Carolina governor, I commend him because he said, yeah, it's permitless carry, but you better get some training to go along with that. And I think that's exactly what we need, is some training about safety, consequences, and all those things that go along with carrying a gun.
Okay. So let me ask you this: do you think that a convicted felon should be allowed to carry?
Well, depending on what they're convicted of now.
Right.
Having said that, I had a couple of calls. I'm not going to call their name because you know them. I had a couple of calls, and I was actually sent the law. The Texas Supreme Court actually overturned the law that says convicted felons cannot carry guns. So they're looking at the Texas Court of Appeals now. Some of the local entities are looking at that because they're saying now it's unconstitutional to ban convicted felons from carrying a gun once they serve their time. I think it's ridiculous if somebody get convicted of bad chicks. That means you're a convicted felon, but you paid your dues to society.
Mm-hmm.
And you should be able to go on with your life. And after 10 years or so, if you had a clean record, 5 years or whatever they determine, you can get your voting rights back. I think you should be able to get those, that ability to carry a gun back. I don't know where they would, somebody convicted of murder. Well, you convicted of murder and you went and done your time, and you upstanding citizen, and come back and being a working class and paying taxes. I think it should be a case by case situation, but I don't think it should just be automatically say that if you're a convicted felon, you can't ever get a gun license. Now, I would say I would be against permitless carry, but I would say that apply for a gun license, go through training, and have some kind of stipulations. But I say that for everybody to carry a gun.
Mm-hmm. Now I gotta ask you this because so many people is looking at Memphis, and when I be seeing you on the news, they be calling you the crime expert. Y'all, Captain Cobb had looked out for me when People be talking about private investigators, Captain Cobb,
Yeah.
Tamara. I said, I love me some Captain Cobb because we supported you. We always felt like you should have been the sheriff, okay? But everybody is looking in at our city, and Memphis is a beautiful city. It is, but it's plagued now with crime. What do you think about all of the crime? Why is crime out of control in our city?
Well, Tamara, ironically, you asked that question. I was with some people. We were in New Orleans, and I go to New Orleans all the time. I got a place in New Orleans, and that's my go-to place when I want to
I
let my
love New
let my
Orleans.
hair down. I let my hair down in New Orleans. What happens? What happens in New Orleans? Stay in New Orleans. But it's a different type of mentality. You can walk around on Bourbon Street with a gun.
Wow, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yes, you can walk around on Bourbon Street with a gun in New Orleans. But in Memphis, you go on Beale Street, you're getting searched. You do so. The mentality is different as far as uh, the way we view things and the way the politicians are. Memphis is, I don't know, taking second tier to Nashville. So I was with some people in New Orleans, and one guy said he'd never been to New Orleans before. We took him as just because he'd never been. We always ride the train. He was so happy. He was having such. He said, compared to New Orleans and compared to other places, Memphis is a sad city.
Mm-hmm.
And it is. I love Memphis. I absolutely love Memphis. But there's a lot to be desired. Everything shuts down at 9 o'clock. The only thing that's going is Beale Street, basically. And so I'm not into politics, but we need a whole new set of thoughts and train of thoughts and people that coming up with some different ideals, because we're still into the in the 80s and in the early 90s, and and so the crime problem, it is what it is. People talk. People in Memphis talk about crime. They
Mm-hmm.
they meet to talk. They walk to talk. They walking and talking, but very few options are coming up. There's always another task force, and there's always something else that we're going to do, and so it's just talk, 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 and very little getting done. And I think the people see that, and the criminals see very little is getting done. And so I don't see anything changing anytime soon, regardless of who the police chief is, regardless of who the sheriff is. I don't see anything changing until the mentality changes.
Let me ask you this because I know you ran for sheriff, of course.
Hmm.
Um, I remember back in the day where the sheriff's department and the Memphis Police Department was Metro, right?
Hmm.
Now we see, because I go out to Millington to the market, to get me a good old seeded watermelon. I
Hmm.
always see the Shelby County sheriff's cars out there. You might see them riding through Germantown, Millington, and how do you feel like the sheriff's office, especially with Memphis being the bigger city and more crime written, how do you feel about the sheriff's office not really patrolling in the city
Well,
limits?
I feel like it's neglected duty, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
For years, Tamara, for 20, 25 years, I pitched the ideal and pushed it that the sheriff department should be in the city schools. Now, they were in Germantown schools forever. They were in Collierville school. They
And
was in
that's a suburb.
right, right. And so they just started going into the city schools when the law was passed that turned the city schools over to Shelby County. But I've been saying that for years now. The other part of that is this. It's a good thing I'm not the sheriff and I wasn't the sheriff, because the ideas are not popular. Politics is a popularity contest. It's not about who does the best job. It's a popularity contest. So I 100% agree that the sheriff should have as much or more responsibility for the crime inside the city of Memphis, or the patrolling or the crime prevention. And that's regardless of who the sheriff is. This is not a knock on Bonner or anybody else. I've been saying this all along. Because of this, if the sheriff whoever the sheriff is, if the sheriff gets 90,000 votes, 65,000 coming from within the city.
Mm-hmm.
So those people that are voting for the sheriff or any other county job, they're putting their vote behind the person that they want to represent them, but they're not getting the representation that they voted for unless they're living in the suburbs.
Mm. Okay. Well, a lot of people want to know, how do you feel about CJ Davis? Do you think that we just got a new mayor, okay? We just got a new mayor. So we have yet to see how that relationship goes. But how do you feel about CJ? Do you think that she's been done fairly? Why do you think she was even brought in from the
Well,
outside?
I think, well, you know what? I like to get a lady a chance, opportunity, because regardless of who comes in, the new school superintendent that just came in, uh, receiving backlash. All outsiders that come in, and you got to keep in mind that this is the first CJ Davis, the first number one, first female to be the police chief, police chief. But she's the first outsider ever, in probably 50 years, maybe. I think they had one other person. But as an outsider coming in, you got resistance within the rank, like the new superintendent, just encountered. You got to learn the culture of the people that you're dealing with. And I think, give the lady a chance. But regardless of who the police chief is, you still gonna have the same issue, because keep in mind, the police chief is works at the wheel of the mayor. So I think Jim Strickland threw CJ Davis under the bus when he left.
Mm-hmm.
Could have just rolled off into the sunset, but he turned around and sent a letter. Well, I didn't agree with that policy that y'all came up with, no way, so I didn't enforce it. And so he threw her under the bus, which put, all over again, put a negative spin on her.
Mm-hmm.
So with the shortage of police officers out there, the ever-changing demographics now, see where they robbing Hispanics. Hispanics are getting robbed, carjacked. The shortage of police officer. Now, if I was CJ Davis, I'd be gone. I'd already be gone. They just cut her pay about 35,000, 40,000 yesterday.
Sure did.
Yeah, I'd be gone. So she has to be a strong lady, and I know she don't this ain't the only job that she can get, but I think before the first of the year, regardless of what the city council decide to do, she's gonna be gone. CJ Davis gonna catch the first train out of here, and I don't blame her. And I don't just say that for her, but people that's trying to do a good job or don't have the resources to work with. I've advocated that Penny Hardaway get his hat and leave, because we're not going. They eventually Memphis just has that mentality. They already turning on Penny, so it's that mentality. So CJ Davis, she's doing okay with what she has to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, we want crime solved. We want to be heavy-handed. You didn't ask me, but the district attorney, Steve Mulroy, why are we letting him out of jail? Well, everybody has a right to bail. Everybody has a right to bond out if they can. And so with people not really understanding how the system works, these politicians, they having to deal with a whole lot. But I wouldn't be surprised if she's not gone or hadn't. I guarantee you she's looking for another job right now. And if she has to, if the job come up where she's the director of security at Lemoyne Owens, CJ Davis gonna be gone.
I'm gonna tell you something, Captain Cobb.
Mm-hmm.
What I've learned, my dad started teaching me politics about 10 years ago. Oftentimes, when certain politicians start bucking against an elected official or rank, that's the person that you might need to keep there, because they might be trying to do something right.
And you're absolutely right.
Except for Steve. Now,
yeah,
I don't mean no harm. But
yeah, well, no, in Memphis, politics in Memphis and in politics, you have to be a part of the status quo if you're gonna survive. Now, if you're gonna, if you're gonna survive, there's a couple of politicians that had an office in 4 years ago, and they never were part of the status quo, and they got voted out. So you, regardless of how they look, the color of their skin, or if whether they're a D or R beside their name, you got to be part of the status quo if you're gonna survive.
Mm-hmm. Now I gotta ask you that because a lot of my subs they started coming to my page because of this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, just from what you've seen and being a crime expert, I don't know if you followed it much, do you feel like that the district attorney along with the Memphis Police Department has done the best that they can as far as crime, especially say specifically, and if you haven't been following it, you can say that you haven't, specifically as it relates to what is going on in the Young Dogs case?
Well, and I haven't been following. I saw something on the news. I think today or yesterday, they said a mastermind got caught in Mississippi, or got arrested in Mississippi or something behind that
Uh-huh.
particular case. So, uh, Chamber, the conversation that I had with you is as much as I know about that particular situation. Uh, and it seems like it's just sprouting different arms and different angles every time I hear something. But I don't, I don't follow it. Uh, I just think that I think there's gonna be some more bodies. I really do.
Absolutely,
I think
yeah.
there's gonna be some more bodies. I'm surprised that this guy is on the street. Is running around as freely as he is. I don't know his name, but when they say it showed his picture and say he got caught and then they said a mastermind behind the thing. So I think there are gonna be some more bodies, but I don't know. I don't know. I hadn't followed that case at all.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll change the subject from that.
Yeah.
So one of the last things I want to ask you is I was looking at you you how was when you went through the FBI Academy, how was that training? Because I hear it's so prestigious.
It's really, really prestigious. So I tried for 14 years to go through that training. I mean, that's the top notch training of any law enforcement officer. I tried for 14 years, and it's political. And me not being political, I knew I wasn't going to go. So you may or may not know this, but I won 3 lawsuits against the county. And you know how the county has been and will continue to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I was more qualified than people that were going. The people was getting promoted, and I wasn't taking it. So I won 3 lawsuits. But after I won the 3 lawsuits, 2 of the guys that I trained that came up behind me, both of them were on the SWAT team, and I trained them when they came in. Well, one of them went. They sent him, and I went and talked to the sheriff, and I was like, wait a minute, oh well, you may be a little bit too old. I said, I just got through training this guy that you. I, I was 47 at the time. I said, I just got through training this guy that you sent. How am I too old? So anyway, well, you we already got the next election coming up, and so I said, okay. So when I said okay and left the office, I guess they got to thinking, well, he already won 2 lawsuits now. So we may need to rethink this thing. So anyway, the guy that was supposed to go next, I ended up going to his place, and I was the African American in between the two other guys. Nothing against them at all. And I ended up going. So it's in Quantico, Virginia. I went for 12 weeks, and it's very, very grueling. There's a lot of physical activity, but there's a lot of academic stuff also. And it's a top notch thing in law enforcement that you get opportunity to do. And that was the highlight of my career. Well, one of the highlights. The other one, real quickly, I had the honor of bodyguard and Mrs. Coretta Scott King, Rosa Parks, and
Oh,
Maya Angelou twice. So that was the highlight of my career. But other than that, the FBI National Academy was the highlight of my law enforcement training.
okay. Have you ever had? Well, I guess you would have said it. I know Minister Farrakhan has come to Memphis a couple times.
No, I haven't. I haven't had the opportunity with Mr. Farrakhan. I can sit up. It'll take me all day to tell you about all the celebrities and people that I have had the opportunity to interact with, but nobody impacted me as much as Mrs. Coretta Scott King. Um, I sat outside her door at the Peabody for 3 nights. I actually had to drink the water and tasted her food. That was only the second time that she'd been back to Memphis in 1991 since her husband was killed. So she was paranoid. And we talked through the door. We talked and we talked and we talked. And of course, I didn't really want to be there because I was a young SWAT man and all the pretty ladies walking around in the hallway. But later on, I recognized significant of what I was doing is with putting her at ease for being here. And Rosa Parks and Maya Angelou came with her. In 2012, Maya Angelou came back, and she had them to find me. And I did. I had the honor bodyguard her. We became real good friends before she died.
Oh wow, that is so awesome. So she still had a sweet spirit and you know and everything because with her husband, he was Dr. King was like 39 when he was taken out, had a
Mhm.
young family. Some people would have gotten bitter, but she still had
Right.
a sweet spirit.
Yeah, right. We talked, and she was so sweet, and we just talked, and she put me at ease because I really didn't. I was salty. I really didn't want to be there, but after I didn't want nobody around her but me because I was like, okay, this is important what I'm doing here.
Mm.
So yeah.
I guess one of my last questions is I want to kind of just for briefly go back to CJ Davis, only because I kind of saw you talking about this when they had you to come on as a crime expert. I believe it was one on one of the news channels. How
Hmm.
do you feel about CJ Davis? I want you to talk about it to my audience. How do you feel about CJ Davis bringing in? She's always partnering with the feds. Now, you know, when I was working with MPD. Hey, I it was I've seen quite a few police directors come and go.
Hmm.
And even with the officers, there was like a love-hate relationship when it came to investigation as it related to the FBI, you know, because a lot of the police chiefs wanted to say, hey, we don't need the FBI. You're saying that my officers or my investigators are not capable. But here's Chief Davis, just it seems like, you know, she's always partnering with the FBI. How do you feel about that?
Well, and so you know what, any police chief, any sheriff, any police director that is not partnering with federal agencies are set up for failure. The federal agencies have all the resources that you
Mhm.
need, and then with her being an outsider, Memphis is there's so many homicides now that I'm sure that they are so short of detectives, and the solvability rate is so low right now. I'm honest to say, when I was in charge of the detectives in the sheriff department, we solved every homicide but one. And right now, I tease the investigator. She's in charge. She's over the detective division now. And I told her a couple of weeks ago, I said, now you can solve that homicide because it was her case. But we know who did it. We know who did it. There's 39, 40 witnesses to the homicide. Nobody's talking. We know who did it, but we just can't prove it because nobody's coming forward to talk about it. Now, having said that, the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, they're the long arm of the law. So Memphis Police Department is limited to the Memphis city limits jurisdictions. And so the FBI and the U.S. Marshal are the long arm of the law. And any law enforcement chief or a sheriff that's not using those resources, wiretaps, or the U.S. Marshal go all over. Will go to St. Louis to arrest somebody that's committed a crime in Shelby County. So I think you have to develop those partnerships with not only the federal people, but you have to develop the partnerships across those imaginary jurisdictional lines. If you're a Memphis Police Department head and you're not partnering with Bartlett and Germantown, a lot of people don't know Bartlett and Germantown and Militant are doing a lot of work inside the city. They're doing a lot of undercover work. And so you need all hands on deck when you do that. But if she's not partnering with these people, or you got a police chief that said, and believe it or not, it wasn't that long ago when you would have one of these suburban jurisdictions would say, the sheriff department better not arrest anybody in my city limits. Well, you can't stop the sheriff department from arresting people in your city limits.
Because the sheriff's office has more jurisdiction than the
Right,
actual police department.
yeah. But that's that jurisdictional BS that people try to pull. And so if you get in that relationship where you're able to work with these partners, I think it's a good thing.
Okay. All right. I saw where you do security training. Hey, don't you know I had been thinking about some expanding me. You want to talk about that? Just doing a little something.
Yeah, and so and right now the market is there. I had a judge to call me last week. He said he want to come through security guard training. I said, Judge, why you want to do that? He said, I'm getting ready to retire. He said, I'm going to open up me a security company.
Oh, wow.
So the market is there. And then especially for female Tamara, there's only one, maybe two female run security companies in Shelby County. Let me tell you this. You could capture the market. I try to get my daughter to do it. You could get Sheila E. I don't know if you maybe be too young to remember Sheila.
I remember her with Prince.
Right, but she had an all-female band. You could get you a all-female security guard company. Get y'all some, whatever you wear, mauve shirts or pink or purple or whatever. You don't have to wear. My guys don't wear black. I don't let them wear black because it intensifies their personality. And so I don't allow them to wear black. We wear different color uniforms than black. But you can get, I'll talk with you about it, but you could capture the market, the women's, the women's show that they have coming in and some of these other. It would just be an excellent idea if you want, and I mean, just get an all-female security company. Man, can you imagine what would happen?
You know what? I thought about that about 2 years ago. An investigator from out of Florida had reached out to me about doing some investigative work for. He had gotten a contract for some insurance companies. Okay, so he had, he's in Florida, so he can't be in Tennessee. So he kind of hired me. He was like, "Why don't you get into security?" I said, "I'm not interested." So about 2 months ago, another guy had reached out to me to do some investigative work for a case he had that came to the Memphis area, and he was from out of Boston. And it's funny because I started asking him, how do you get all these resources? But it was just weird because he was reluctant, but I later found out that he had worked in the CIA. That's kind of weird because I noticed he had said, well, we do a lot of, we had to know how to tell. We got the equipment to tell if your phone is tapped and this and that. It was like $5,000 or whatever. But what he was like, can I tell you something? He was like, I'm gonna tell you how you could be, because he was like, I could easily make 2 or 3 million, but I'm getting ready to retire. And he said, can I tell you something? Why don't you think about expanding to security? Why don't you do that?
And the market is there. You got the government contracts. A lot of people want security but don't know how to get it. Security. So Tamara, you and I talked with certainly the market. There's a lot of government contracts out there, and then the minority women and female, gives you a leg up also as far as getting some of these contracts, government contracts, state contracts, federal contracts. So I would say there's only two other females that I know, two females that I know in Shelby County that have security companies.
Well, me and you will talk about that, especially, and I can get the training through you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can get the training through me. Like I told the judge last week, I said we're gonna get. So there's 5-6 standards that the state of Tennessee require. And so I told him we're gonna get all his standards done, and then he can apply for his company license.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, Captain Cobb. I know you was getting tired of me at one time. I was reaching out to you about stuff.
Yeah, I'm never tired of you.
They hacked my phone and this and that, but you know what? You always have a source. the man that you had me to reach out to.
Mm-hmm.
When I didn't think that he would, the FBI agent, I didn't think that he would. You said he'll be a nice guy. He worked in cyber stuff, and he's been awesome. So I really appreciate you. When another, we won't say which one, he was like, they needed an investigator, one of those news companies, and he said, I said, Tamara, I said, Captain Cobb always looking out for a sister. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate you. You know, we've always supported you. We always will. And hey, you need to send me price and send me something so we can go ahead, because I'm ready.
Okay, I do
Ready.
that. So real quickly, Tamara, I want if people are interested in looking at our association, do NAAGA.co, co, not .com, NAAGA.co, and look upon the go to Tennessee and look about brothers and sister 901 brothers and sister keeper. That's our chapter, and we're recruiting people. I don't know if you can see this shirt that I have on. This is a shirt with the logo on it, and we're having we're getting ready to have some self-defense classes. I'll let you know so you could put it out to your audience, and we're getting ready to have some gun safety for kids. We're getting ready to do a lot of community stuff, and maybe I'm gonna get you to come in one day and be a guest speaker for the kids, so they understand that what you do as a female private investigator, and that'll be really exciting to you.
I would love it. Let me see before you go if my audience want to ask you any questions. Does anybody have any questions for Captain Cobb before he goes? Anybody have any questions for him before he goes? Because he be a busy man. He be constantly going. I promise you, it takes an act of God to get him to call you back. They said, thank you, Captain Cobb, for visiting us. Joy says, valuable and informative information. Thank you, Captain Cobb. Does anybody, Cypress was messing with you. He said he knew you when you was out on the street.
Who
He
is
gonna
this?
say, what hair? He said, what hair do you got?
Who said that?
Cypress TV. That's his YouTube name, Cypress. He said, I know Captain Cobb. That's what he put in there. He was like, what hair he got?
I
Have
used to
you
have that fro. I used to have that fro going.
used to have that fro going? Hold on. I think they trying to call in on the. Okay, that's my other phone. They said, thanks, Captain Cobb. So nobody is saying y'all don't have to be scared. Captain Cobb is he a good guy.
I'm a good guy.
He one of the good
Yeah,
guys.
I tell my grandkids all this. Granddad, why you got those shades on? I said, I intimidate people. They said, we ain't scared of you. I said, okay.
All right, Captain Cobb. Well, they ain't saying nothing. Watch it. Sometimes it's slow, but I really appreciate. I believe some people trying to call in. Well, anyways, that's my daughter. Anyways, Captain Cobb, I definitely thank you. I look forward to working with you on getting my certificates and doing my tactical training. And I would love, Councilwoman Rhonda Logan asked me one day to come and to speak to the children at
Mm-hmm.
Raleigh, Egypt, at the elementary school. And oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, they were so. She was like, they was reading a book on a spy, and they was like, she was like, I have someone here, and guess what? She is a female spy. She does. Oh my God, they was excited. Oh my God, she is a
Yeah.
spy. You are a spy. That was so cute.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to get you in to talk with my kids.
I would love to do it. I would love to. But anyways, Captain Cobb, hey, I really appreciate you stopping through. I enjoyed the conversation. It was they said very informative. And hey, I'm sure some of these women are already saying, give them the address to where you're located at again.
So I'll give my phone number 901-649-8539, and my office is at 7715 Summer Avenue, Suite 103A, Alpha.
Okay, well, thank you for coming through, Captain Cobb. We got to have you on here again as a crime expert, as the news medias always do.
Okay. Thank you, Tamara. Have a good one.
Okay, you too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
That was Captain Cobb, y'all. Awesome, awesome guy. He ran for sheriff twice, and Captain Cobb had some good ideas, and he each time he lost just by a little bit. You know what I mean? And um, Captain Cobb is not a politician, right? He's a straight shooter, and so it's definitely hey, people felt like it was some games and stuff played because he's one of those ones. Kind of remind me of my dad that can't be controlled. Every time I reached out to Captain Cobb, he went through the FBI Academy, and so when I reached out to him a few weeks ago, and I was telling him about some stuff that was going on, he sent me straight to a person as it relates to hacking phones and stuff like that over at the Memphis branch of the FBI. He's just always thinking about me, and he's just a good guy. He's a good guy. But anyways, you guys, I have not, don't y'all know I have not eaten. I went out and I had to go and record. Y'all know Memphis like gas and water. Okay, so they have a TV show on my TV network. So I had to go out and record their show, and I was running behind, and Captain Cobb reached out to me and was like, "You ain't sending me no link." I said, "I'm sorry, Captain Cobb. I'm running. I'm busting. I'm hustling for time." And hey, I was like, Captain Cobb, he's sitting still, and he asked me if he could come on. So I got to make sure that because Captain Cobb will be gone again. He'll be on. He always getting on that train in New Orleans. Now I see why he down there. He got a house down there, and also, and so I'm gonna start doing more interviews and stuff. Like Captain Cobb had asked me a long time ago. The young lady that he was talking about that was on over the detective unit. He asked me to interview her a long time ago. I kind of dropped the ball on that, but I'm gonna see if I can get that ball bouncing again. And yeah, but that was a great interview, very informative. Um, Captain Cobb he spent most of his career as captain over the TAC unit, right? That's the sniper unit, which is why he's able now, since he has retired, he's been able now to start his own tactical training academy, basically. And he's one of the top ones as far as getting your licenses and stuff. At the people go through. I went through him and got certified. My sister went through him and got certified. My dad went through him and got certified. So he's one of the top ones around the Shelby County area. And that is because he spent so many years over the sniper team, right? So he knows everything about guns and stuff. He's always on News Channel 3, News Channel 5, News Channel 13 as a crime expert, He didn't want to talk a lot about that young dog's case. Hey, and I ain't try to force him to. And he said he don't know a lot about it. So he. Anyways, you guys, hey, I got to eat because I got to get back out tonight and go and be a spy. Okay. But I got to put something in my stomach. I appreciate you guys getting on, showing support to Captain Cobb. Okay. A good guy. All right. Hey, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to support the channel, you could definitely support the channel via Cash App. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.